Suella Braverman attacks Rishi Sunak in scathing letter after sacking. Live. What? A slippery Indian billionaire didn't keep his word? Really? Are you telling me that a short-arsed, big-nosed dwarf who's done more flip-flops than an Afghan cobbler, are you telling me he didn't mean to keep his word in the first place? You do surprise me, Suella. Okay, there's a lot to get into here. A lot of people have covered other aspects of this while I've been busy working. So I'm not going to go over what you already know, that Suella Braverman got sacked because she held onto a shred of conservatism and actually said something extremely controversial like, maybe we should have borders. Yeah, maybe we should check people and convicted murderers or rapists or carrying hissing backpacks before we let them through the Channel Tunnel. Just maybe it's a good idea to put the Navy in the Channel and make sure that waifs and strays from the third world, fighting age male waifs and strays from the third world, maybe we should have a process of some kind before we allow them to swamp the country. Apparently, that is far right. You know, the same basic checks and balances that every single civilised country in the world has held for the last 70 years. You do remember the 80s and the 90s and the noughties, don't you? Remember when people used to apply for work permits and visas and get background checks and medicals before they actually came into the country? Funny old thing, I remember doing that when I moved to the USA in 2013. I know it seems like a lifetime ago, but I got 2 interviews, one at the embassy in London and one at the embassy here. I got 2 medicals, one at the embassy in London and one here in Los Angeles. I got a background check by the police. I had my finances dug into. I had a lengthy interview to determine that our marriage wasn't a sham, despite the fact my missus and I had lived together in Yorkshire for 5 years, and she's got a PhD. It seems a bit odd that we have standards like that for people that look like me. But when it comes to toothless, illiterate goat herders from some of the most dangerous places on earth, the rule book gets ripped up. Very logical. Very logical. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. If I was going to do a risk assessment, and in column A, we had young 20-something, highly educated American girl, or column B, big, hairy-arsed 20-year-old bloke that can barely read or write, who hails from a city where 70% of the people living in it supported ISIS, I'm just putting it out there. I don't think the fellow with the big swinging nutsack and the high testosterone would be my preferred option. Anyway, let's not go into a rant about that. Let's just read the story, shall we? Suella Braverman has responded in a resignation letter to being sacked as Home Secretary as part of a major cabinet reshuffle. Suella Braverman has accused Rishi Sunak of betrayal in a scathing resignation letter after she was sacked as Home Secretary. Ms Braverman's departure came after she accused Met Police chiefs of bias in their handling of the pro-Palestinian protests. Yeah, and she might as well accuse the sun of shining, because if you don't think that is a factually accurate statement, you haven't got a hole in your arse. In a resignation posted on her feed, she accused Sunak of having manifestly and repeatedly failed to deliver on key policies and said his distinctive style of government means you are incapable of doing so. He had less chance of delivering than Postman Pat if he had no arms and legs and he smashed his nice red van into a tree at 90 miles an hour. That is about how likely deliveries were to take place on the watch of that oily billionaire who's currently running the country and wasn't even elected to do so. After firing Miss Braverman, Mr Sunak appointed former Prime Minister Lord David Cameron as Foreign Secretary in a number of changes to his cabinet. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the cherry on top of the dog toffee sundae. That's unbelievable. I'm not going to go on and on about David Cameron. I've held my hands up about this before and told you lot. I ignored Peter Hitchens when I was 30 because I was young and thought I knew better. Everything he said has been proved true. I voted for Cameron twice, and I'm holding my hands up and saying I was an idiot. Hitch was right. In the description, I'm going to leave a link to this video. I highly suggest that you watch it.
This is a story about the extinction of choice in British politics.
Some people say that we should just move to the right. I say that would be wrong.
I believe the main opposition party has been hijacked by an elitist group of political careerists.
I think that David Cameron is an out-and-out opportunist. I don't believe that David Cameron believes anything.
Far from wishing to fight New Labour, they have sought to copy its methods and adopt most of its beliefs.
We have moved back to the ground on which this party's success was always built. The centre ground of British politics, and that is where we're going to stay.
I believe Parliament has become the private property of conformist social, cultural and moral liberals. Those who do not share the prejudices of this new elite are now wholly excluded from power or influence.
Conformist liberal elites. That is exactly what they are. That documentary was made in 2007, and watching that is what made me face the mirror, accept I have been wrong, and essentially consistently parrot Peter Hitchens. And how many times has he been proven right in the last 4 or 5 years? He was on the money with the pandemic. The first 2 weeks that we even heard about the Kung Flu. The bloke is a visionary. I will leave a link in the comments. Watch it, and trust me, by the end of that short documentary, you will know exactly what type of oily, self-serving rat David Cameron is. If you think he's going to deliver success to the Conservative Party, I've got a bridge to sell you. He is lower than a rattlesnake ballsack, and the entire not Conservative Party is only fit for one thing: getting in the bin. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. Do you disagree? Do you think Dave, just call me Dave, Hugger Hoodie Cameron, is going to deliver us the goods after he basically instigated it for 12 years? I'd love to know your thoughts if you are that mental. Anyway, as usual, thanks for watching. I apologise I haven't posted for a few days. When you've been on Susan's shit list for as long as I have, it's just what you've got to get used to, alright? At least they're still paying income tax, and I'm helping buy bombs to drop on schools all around the world. So it's every cloud. Thanks for watching. See you all very soon. Toodle pip. Cheers.